Hello, this is World University and Schools Live Hangout on Air. Hello, Tanya.
Hi.
I can hear you. How are you?
Good, good.
Great. Are you in Florida or where are you?
I am in Florida. I'm at home in Florida.
Great. Long time no see. How's it going?
Yeah, real good.
Great. Are you traveling a lot these days, or what's on your agenda?
Yeah, between between work and then just like going to see my family and such on days off. I feel like I'm barely home, but I have a day off, and still it's kind of nice.
Great, great. You had mentioned some year or two ago that you might be spending more time in the Boston area, Cambridge area. Did that materialize, or is that have you been mostly based out of Florida?
I think I could just I could I might have just mentioned it because I can just go there. Like,
Uh-huh.
because I can pretty much go anywhere. Domestic is real easy
Right, right,
anytime.
right.
Sometimes I just see, where the planes are going and I pick one of those, but I can always, pick a place on purpose.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Cool, cool. I'm glad you were meeting about your online coursework at World University and School over this past semester, I guess, or I'll call it a term, a 4-month term, 3 terms a year or something like that at World University and School, but flexible. And you're doing a very much an independent study towards a bachelor's degree at unaccredited World University and School, but as a matriculated student. Yeah, so tell me what some of your thoughts and ideas and questions are at this point, if you're
Well,
game.
I if it was more structured, and for instance, when I had my class with you, I had deadlines. Um, it seems to take me a lot longer just on my own initiative, but it's also but I also complete it.
Uh,
So it on one instance, I get down on myself for not working on it more, but then I think, well, I'm fitting it in among all these other things, and since I'm finishing it, I'm proud of myself. So
right, right, right.
yeah, and it's it, we decided because of my credits to do the business degree, but learning about corporate structure, which is interesting in a way, but not super applicable. It was just the shortest way to the degree. Um, it becomes a struggle. I think if it was something that I was more interested in, I would go faster. And I was thinking that after I earned this degree, that I would want to continue with another program that it would actually interest me, because then I could, learn stuff that would be applicable to my life.
Hmm,
But I do want to get this one done first, just to have it done. And
great.
but then also I'd like to continue because I think it's a good structure in my life just to have this sort of learning opportunity and continuing education for myself.
Super. So deadlines and sort of focusing of a direction, a major, maybe with more building blocks from the beginning, and ongoing lifelong learning seem to be potential key items in so far your studies. That's very interesting to
Yeah.
learn. Um, and this most recent course, one question I wanted to ask was, were the MIT OpenCourseWare questions, study questions, helpful or interesting focusing opportunities for you?
That was a good course. I am wholly not interested in the history of Dell or yeah, sorry, the corporation is itself, and its rise and fall. But I know a lot about Lou Gessner and what happened. So the way it was presented was wonderful, with the reading material and then listening to the lectures. Everything was clear and almost interesting.
And I would love to, here we are meeting in Google Group Video Hangout face-to-face again. There's a sociality aspect. You mentioned you sort of this independent study approach maybe of your last course in a course that might not have interested you maybe in other contexts. But when you and I met together, there was not only deadlines, but also there was a sociality aspect. I mean, we were talking to each other in many ways. What are your thoughts about sociality beyond deadlines and with regard to independent study, maybe with regard to the last course, but also in general?
Sure, it's a different dynamic, and I guess I prefer, probably, actually I think I like both of them for different reasons.
Hmm.
It's I'm an independent learner anyways, and I like to, take swaths of time and just sit, here at my desk and kind of study and flow with things. And if you have to meet with someone else, then it becomes kind of more of a time constraint. You know, being there and being in the right mode instead of picking my own time. But it might have more to do with, my sleep schedule and my work schedule, since it's always different. So it's hard to pick one time and be there for the other person, because the social means that you have to, like, not let the other person down. So, but both have their advantages, and I think they motivate me in different ways.
Great, good to hear that both independent study and face-to-face and Google Group Video Hangouts have their merits in your thinking as a matriculated student at World University and School, because you are an independent learner. Especially, one thought that had come to mind earlier today, but also here, is Charlie Nesson's the Harvard Law Emeritus Professor Jury X course in edX, in Harvard X, used a sort of new technology that he called threads. So there was, there were sort of weekly or every other week focusing times. People would watch something and do something, but the communication was asynchronous in kind of a thread-like environment. So it was social. You could respond to questions in text that emerged from other students, but not face-to-face. In this sort of, it was almost social media-like threads, conversation threads, a subject heading, and then 20 people would respond asynchronously. It seems like that would be, offer potentially both deadlines in a sense, but also the opportunity for sociality, but also asynchronously. If a course from MIT OpenCourseWare, say into MIT-X, into this threads technology under the edX rubric was available for you, would that be of interest in some ways, do you think?
Yeah, I think so, and it sounds like a perfect compromise between the two. Also, um,
Uh-huh.
so I can try to, make something work every week, and then that doesn't seem like such a such an effort. I'm realizing now that I forgot to look at my hair or anything. But if you're
You
just
look very
typing,
nice.
thank you. So, but if you're just typing and it's kind of the old style when you're on the computer and everyone's kind of in a chat room, kind of like that,
Right,
uh,
right, right.
that seems perfectly acceptable. Yeah.
we're kind of brainstorming here. I'm curious what you're thinking ahead in terms of your courses towards your bachelor's degree. But just to follow up on this one sort of thing we're talking about right now, I'm also curious about the sort of role that getting, hypothetically, an MIT OpenCourseWare course that's already been moved into MITx. MITx is a more proprietary MIT framework. They have, single course for a certificate. The certificate could cost, or the certificate could, or it could be no certificate but a free course. That if that was available for matriculated students for free at World University and School, I'm wondering how to get from MITx into the Threads technology in edX that Charlie Nesson created for his JuryX course. And that's probably a big process. I mean, it might be possible that MIT grad students could do that for an MITx course. But you don't know the Threads technology necessarily, but any thoughts there?
No, and that's why I admire and look to you for the development of all this. I just try to do my part and matriculate.
Okay. Great. What are your thoughts here with the next course or two? How many courses do you see ahead of you before finishing?
It seems like when you and Larry first went over my credits that there were three left now. Now there's three left. The Six Sigma one I emailed you about, where it said that not all of the information was in the OpenCourseWare thing. So I wouldn't think that it would give me a full class to actually like earn some credit or a full understanding
right.
of what I was supposed to learn. The other ones I try to do everything, so I'm getting kind of I wasn't there when it happened, but I'm trying to recreate it. And I do feel like I'm doing all the things that I would need to do to earn the credit. But the Six Sigma one wouldn't. My thought on that is I think that there is courses offered out in the world for Six Sigma stuff. I haven't had much experience or know very much about it, but the little bit I have heard is that you can go take courses and level up. So since it's an introductory one, maybe doing something, not with MIT, but out in the world somehow to get that, and then also doing the MIT stuff would give me the full class, enough for credit. But instead of looking into that right now, I just decided to go on to the other one, which is the sorry for the face, but it's finance theory one thing. So, and I barely looked into it more, not anything more than asking you if I should just go that way instead, and then bookmarking it on my homepage for my new course. But that I could get started on, and then check another one off. And then the last course was just I don't know if I could bring it up real fast, but it said something like your pick. So I'll have to decide which ones would be creditable or for the degree, and pick one of those. So
are there sort of the third way options out here if we can't find the simulations for the Six Sigma course from MIT OpenCourseWare, and if the finance sort of one from MIT OpenCourseWare isn't necessarily what you're drawn to as an independent study, although it would be germane to your business major?
I just feel it's just something I have to, it's just the hoops I have to overcome, like learning about Dell. I just, it's fantastic. And I did so many business classes before, and that's why I pursued that. And, but I don't want to go work in the corporate world. So it's just information that I don't necessarily feel is my future, but it's necessary to learn about it because it's a business major. That's what I mean. So I want to do the things that would represent, what it will say. It says business major. Finance. I mean, that I can't think of very many people who would think that finance theory would be a fun class, no matter what they were taking it for. But so it'll just be some things that I'll read about, and I'll find the ways for it to better my life, anyways, which I do. I did learn just different ways of dealing with people. I should try to maybe talk about my last course and the advantages, because it gave me a new perspective on how to lead people. If I needed to do that in my life, which I don't very often. But
how to leave, sort of lead. Separate, put distance, avoid?
No, lead, like bring people along.
Lead, L-E-A-D. Okay, yeah. Got it.
So, because Lou Gessner, he was, great at his job in turning Dell around, and the changes that he made in the corporation to get it on a new way. The book was called something about teaching elephants to dance, on how you can. So the imagery of him just, doing something that seems very hard to do and making it go another way. So there are advantages to every course that I've taken so far with this, and things that I've learned. It's just not necessarily my cup of tea. The Six Sigma, if that wouldn't work out, or, on the option 3 way, then perhaps there could be another course that would still give me the right credits to be able to graduate with the business degree. But I'm willing to, look at all avenues just to make it happen, because I just want it to happen, the final degree.
Great. As you may know, both Larry and I, in our talking together, are not sort of experts in business. So we're eager to begin the accreditation process and potentially hire, for example, graduate students in the fields that the 6 majors we're offering are in, so that there would be some expertise here.
Yeah.
But there's also the sort of practical questions. Are there sort of fascinating, enjoyable, practical approaches to both Sigma and finance theory that might be sort of there already online in some courses, in some OpenCourseWare in one way or another? Might be MIT OpenCourseWare, might be other OpenCourseWare similar, where once you had a business degree, you had some practical experience in Six Sigma or in finance theory that might be interesting. And so that's one sort of set of questions I'm curious about. I'll have a look around as well after we talk here. But I'm also curious. Do you see yourself, once having gotten this bachelor's degree, continuing on with sort of flying, or do you think you'll find your way into other directions? I mean, in what way would a bachelor's degree in business from World University and School be useful for your career, is one of the questions.
It's not, that's not my motivating factor, is my career, because I do just want to fly. The job is so easy, and they put money in my bank account. So, you know, I have to be places at certain times, but everything they ask of me and the advantages I get of being able to fly, you know, go see my mom for a night, even though she lives in Colorado, and
Yeah, yeah.
you know, seeing my sister once a month, things like that make the job worthwhile. So I don't want to leave it, and I have no interest in like going up a corporate ladder or any sort of office thing that a business degree would maybe give me opportunities to do. So and the whole reason why I started it when I did, you know, did everything initially to get the business credits was because I wanted to start a business, which is what I did and ran my own business for more than a decade. So I've already kind of done that and took the information that I learned early on, and then I got wrapped up in the whole running of the business, and then didn't finish the degree. So I'm just so pleased to be able to accomplish something. You know, have the bachelor's eventually, and that's because of you and the World University and school. So I'm happy for that.
Oh, cool. Interesting and good to hear. Just in a sort of brainstorming vein, I'm at Stanford right now, and there's some ambient music just beginning right here. So if it's too loud, let me know. Okay. And one of the sort of brainstorming questions I have is, if World University and School, and this is sort of for my own thinking process, could eventually, you know, hire you at you know, comparable salary, you know, what knowledge of MIT OpenCourseWare could you impart as a hypothetical project manager to maybe grad students, to maybe staff people at World University and School in Google Group Video Hangouts, from maybe this business perspective, or knowing MIT OpenCourseWare's courses in an overview perspective, business-wise? So these are, you know, this would be both practical and engaging, you know, your studies at World University and School toward a bachelor's, and potentially career-wise, but fairly, and with the MIT OpenCourseWare focus. Any thoughts there? And
well, yeah, that could be a great advantage, and maybe something I could do if I was still flying. But I think what I could bring is the familiarity with the MIT OpenCourseWare, and then how I figured out how to we kind of did it together, but creating the blog, so I'd have a place where all of my work was done, but then just figuring out in my own brain on how to be clear, to show, kind of like show my work, you know, to to show that I've done it, and that this is my breadth of understanding about it. So putting together what MIT has and then what I have in my blog was something that I kind of had to like figure out when we first started doing these classes, and I could see now was, you know, with the last class, that it's just getting easier because I don't have to figure it out. It's already done, and I just have to go and put the information there. So just a familiarity with the best way to do it, the most efficient way, because you want to learn the material. You don't want to mess around with computer, you know, getting things done. So
yeah, I was looking through your website this morning, my West Coast time, and it is really interesting and good work. Congratulations on that, and also from on the web developments you've made over these quarters, these terms. I'm you know, from an independent study perspective, you've been very creative with your web site developments, in that you know, the sort of MIT OpenCourseWare, I could conceive of it as sort of inputs into your thinking. You read these books, you engage these videos from the faculty at MIT, you go through the OpenCourseWare, and then you think about this, and then you sort of create an output, which is the web page for a specific week's MIT OpenCourseWare materials, and how you've engaged that. So there's sort of, that's the processing, and it becomes a way also for you to communicate what knowledge you've gained. So it's a very, if you were guiding students, on the sort of, in an office hour, I'm thinking brainstorming wise here, about maybe on the independent study side, without threads, without a grad student teaching a section, and students were looking to create an avenue for showing the work they've done, for what they've studied, what they've learned, what they've found interesting. Your sort of skills there are very interesting and helpful. And I think, I'm looking through right now the course we did together, and I'm also asking myself, how could we build upon this? And I think some of those, maybe having, my and your meetings were more structured than your independent study subsequently. And I think having those sort of, the structure can help, but how does that work with independent studies is a big question. So yeah, the website may be that very structure, but it could be focused more in some ways. And with more people like hypothetical Stanford and MIT grad students focusing some of these questions, or yourself interacting with students that were even matriculated at accrediting World University and school, accrediting first through the state of California, there might be avenues for you sharing your knowledge with how you processed MIT OpenCourseWare into your website.
Yeah, because as I do each class, I figure out something easier to pursue this way of going to school. And I think that anyone who takes the same courses that I did could use the information that I have on the blog and just expand, more participatory with another student and what they learned and how I did the assignments, sort of thing. So it'd just be helpful.
Great. Great. Other thoughts you have, or other questions or ideas you want to share?
I think we covered everything that I wanted to talk to you about. I'm going to get going on my finance class, and then we'll just during this next term we'll just figure out what I can do about the Six Sigma and how we'll pursue that, and then what other class I can take.
Great. I'm a little bit in touch with Anant Agrawal, who's the MIT professor of EE in computer science, and he's also the president of edX. And they have their own sort of business model for edX. But I'm, because of MIT OpenCourseWare into MITx, I think that's how it goes, yeah, under the umbrella of edX, I always have the collaboration possibilities in mind. And there might be both, a Finance 1 course there, hypothetically in the future, maybe not, starting tomorrow, but that World University and School could draw on for the very reasons you're sort of outlining, that MIT OpenCourseWare might not be what you're drawn to, but also it has its applicability, and practically wise, there might be more practical sort of developments that might emerge out of an edX Finance 1 course compared to an independent study of an MIT OpenCourseWare Finance 1 course.
Sure.
So,
well, there's just going to be more opportunities for this kind of education. So I'm glad to pursue all of them, see what works best.
Great. Other thoughts, ideas, or questions or related before we close?
Nope, I don't think so. It's nice to talk to you.
Likewise. It's really nice to meet like this.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, we'll be in touch via email, and I'm seeking to have these every Monday. So that's a possibility if you want to focus the Finance 1 course more next Monday, for example, or otherwise we can figure out time to communicate. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Great.
Okay.
Good to talk. Yeah.
You too. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye. So this is World University and Schools Live Hangout on Air, and this is Monday, February 11th, 2019. If you have questions about World University and School as we begin the accreditation process with the state of California, having a World University and School is going to a Bureau for Private Post-Secondary Education State of California workshop in the third week of February, in a week or 10 days, which will be the very beginning of the accreditation process. And we're seeking undergraduate students like Tanya, whom you may have just seen in this hangout, is at World University and School, but as we accredit for free to students bachelor's degrees. So info at worlduniversityandschool.org. If you have questions or ideas, twitter.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH or youtube.com/the same, WORLDUNIVANDSCH. And I'm Scott McLeod. This is World University and Schools Live Hangout on Air, and bye for now. See you next week, potentially February 18th. I think it is next Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks, and bye for now.